If there's one thing I learned from 28 Years Later to Bone Temple, Iron Maiden makes everything better. Hey movie buffs, I'm Jack Benner, and welcome to my first review of a 2026 release film for 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. This is the follow-up to last year's 28 Years Later, as well as the fourth film in the 28 Days Later franchise. And this film is not directed by Danny Boyle, who directed the previous film. He's a producer this time. And in The Bone Temple, we got Nia DaCosta directing, and as well as actors reprising their roles from Ray Fiennes, Jack O'Connell, and Alfie Williams. After the events of 28 Years Later, when Spike encounters the Fingers, a gang of Jimmies led by Sir Lord Jimmy Crystal, played by Jack O'Connell, Spike is stuck with a disturbing gang trying to escape. Meanwhile, Dr. Ian Kelson, played by Ray Fiennes, finds himself in a new friendship and a shocking new discovery. Are you a new viewer coming across this channel for the first time? If so, welcome to my channel. I am Jack Benner. I do movie reviews on here, both old and new, and from time to time I do some lists on here, either a top 5 or ranking video. So if you're looking for in-depth movie reviews and exciting lists, definitely considering that like and subscribe button for more exciting movie content. Now, I did give my thoughts on the 28 Days Later films in my review of 28 Years Later, so I figured those who have not seen that review, here are my thoughts on the previous movies. First up, 28 Days Later, that came out in 2003. A terrific and terrifying introduction to the rage virus from director Danny Boyle, and a fantastic breakout performance from Cillian Murphy, who would go on to be a frequent collaborator of Christopher Nolan movies. I love that it's a bleak survival horror movie delving into the psychology of the survivors, and those who get infected by the rage virus and how absolutely terrifying it is. Just vicious, ruthless, and uncontrollable zombies that will kill you instantly. And seeing your loved ones get infected, that's as equally scary. And over 20 years later, that film still holds up and impressively made on an $8 million budget. And in 2007, we got a sequel, 28 Weeks Later. While I don't think that movie is as good as 28 Days Later, I still think that's an enjoyable horror sequel. The opening action sequence is absolutely fantastic, and I really like Jeremy Renner in the movie. However, what holds it back, I didn't find the characters nearly as interesting as 28 Days Later, like Jim. And plus some very stupid decisions that made my eye roll. I was just thinking, how is someone not guarding this? Or also, oh, you're seriously not gonna let those out? So it's like, oh, you let them out to the public. And I still stand by, using helicopter rotor blades to kill the Ragers, that's pretty freaking cool. So when are we getting a third film in the 28 Days Later franchise, or 28 Years Later? And in 2025, we finally got that movie, 28 Years Later. That film came out almost 20 years since that movie. I found that film to be a really good return to the rage virus, and definitely a great choice bringing back Danny Boyle to direct. It was a fascinating evolution of the rage virus with new survivors and characters to focus on. The movie's intense and brutal, has beautiful cinematography, and the movie has terrific performances, especially from Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, and Ray Fiennes in his screen time. And Alfie Williams gave a terrific breakout performance in that movie as Spike. Granted, I did have issues with some of the pacing and some things I felt like could have been expanded upon. And that ending, yeah, let's get to that. Now, this is where the movie gets divisive, and I found it to be a bizarre cliffhanger ending. I don't hate it, but I was just, that's the way they ended the movie. And just when I saw that scene for the first time, I was just like, what the first viewing, I was puzzled by it, but the more I watched that scene, I'm able to get a laugh out of it. Just the freaking ninja Jimmy Saviles and them doing flips and the heavy metal music and the Teletubbies 1, 2, 3 and I think it's freaking funny. Over the top, yes, but it's kind of funny to me. And I gave that movie 4 stars out of 5, a B+ in my original review. I still stand by that grade. And now 7 months since 20 years later, we finally get our follow-up film, The Bone Temple. As much as I really liked 28 Years Later, there were 2 things I was skeptical about for 28 Years Later The Bone Temple. Number 1, January release date. And that month is usually the dumping ground of movies. A lot of disposable crap and terrible movies comes out around that time. I remember Scream 5 came out in January 2022. I really liked that movie, so that's not always a bad month for movies. Split is also really good, so maybe. And interestingly enough, the release date of 28 Years Later to Bone Temple was 28 weeks after the predecessor's release date. And second, a new director, Nia DaCosta, is behind the camera in this film. Now, I did not see her 2021 remake of Candyman. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that movie, if it was good or bad. But the only film I've seen from her is The Marvels, which I really didn't like, and second to least favorite MCU movie for me. And I just thought her directing this one, I don't know. I'm worried about that. However, when I first saw the trailer, I got optimistic about it, as it both looked like an intense and promising continuation, and I was hoping this sequel would be in good hands under Nia DaCosta's direction. Now that I've seen 28 Years Later to Bone Temple opening weekend and now my review is finally here, I was busy the last few weeks, and I'm happy to say about 28 Years Later to Bone Temple, it's a really good follow-up. I liked it a lot. And I'd say it's as good as 28 Years Later that still keeps this franchise strong and one of my favorite horror franchises. Now, my main reason on why this is such a strong follow-up is a fantastic trio of performances from Ralph Fiennes, Jack O'Connell, and Alfie Williams. Ralph Fiennes, to the surprise of no one, is fantastic as usual. Come on, it's Ralph freaking Fiennes. The man always has been giving fantastic performances. I'm really happy that Dr. Kelson got a bigger role than in the previous film. And here, Dr. Ian Kelson is quickly becoming one of the most interesting characters in the franchise. Fiennes still maintaining great presence and gravitas as always, but the new relationship with him and Samson is one of the most fascinating elements of the film. While Ralph Fiennes is terrific in this movie, who just walks away, stealing this entire movie, that goes to Jack O'Connell as Sir Lord Jimmy Crystal, who is just incredible in this movie. My God. Polarizing cliffhanger ending aside, he was the one thing I was most excited to see in this sequel. I was confident in both Jack O'Connell as a great actor, and plus last year he was an amazing standout as Remick in Sinners, so I definitely knew this actor excels at playing amazing and memorable villains. And fortunately, in 28 Years Later to Bone Temple, I was not disappointed at all. He excels once again. And since he also played Remick in Sinners, was there going to be a scene with him and the Jimmys where he was going to sing the Rocky Road to Dublin? I don't know, I feel like watching Sinners again. Sammy! Jack O'Connell gives a diabolical and unsettling presence every time he's on screen, bringing charisma and unpredictability to the role, to where I have no idea what he was going to say or do next, and I was just so uncomfortable. And he just does such an amazing job playing a sickening and repulsive human being. One conversation scene between him and Dr. Kelson highlights and fleshes out his character from his past at the start of the outbreak, which we saw in the opening scene of 28 Years Later, and his beliefs on, is old Nick really his father or he's just delusional? And Jack O'Connell is yet another villainous standout in this movie. And if this can start a path like Willem Dafoe or Gary Oldman, where we have a terrific character actor playing great villain roles, keep it going, please. And Alfie Williams, once again, does a great job as Spike. Although taking more of a backseat this time compared to the first movie, Williams still shines in the role with Spike involved with the Jimmys and the horrific things he sees, but also starting a friendship with one member who starts to see humanity in him. Yeah, and I definitely want to highlight Erin Kellyman, and she is great as one of the Jimmy members, Jimmy Inc., who starts a great friendship with Spike. And I do remember seeing this actress in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. She was the leader of the Flag Smashers. So just with her and the freckles, I was just like, oh yeah, I remember her. Now, I was skeptical about Nia DaCosta taking over Danny Boyle behind the camera, and with my first impression of her handling this franchise, I thought she did a great job. I was impressed with both her filmmaking and storytelling here. Instead of just imitating Danny Boyle or doing this movie for a paycheck, not really. She did a great job of holding her own approach to action and keeping it a character-driven story. And she holds no punches to how horrifying the fingers are. Oh my God. Just one particular scene at a bar, and before that, just a conversation with the Jimmys and the people who live there. I was just so nervous and just like, what's gonna happen in this scene? They're just gonna torture them, aren't they? Just, oh no. And when that torture scene occurs, oh God, it is just so graphic, violent, and oh God. That was the scariest scene in the film to me. And I'd say this is an even gorier, vicious, and gruesome film than its predecessor. in both its imagery and themes it tackles. But most of all, I love the themes she explored here set up in 28 Years Later, such as humanity, particularly with the friendship between Samson and Dr. Kelson. It came across as a fascinating new element to the rage virus, and giving a backstory to someone infected and showing that they're more than just a killing machine. And some things later, I was just like, I am loving what she's bringing to the table for the Ragers. This is very interesting for the franchise. And also exploring the horrors of dangerous cults with the rituals in the opening scene, their killings and perspectives with their beliefs, and how they view Dr. Ian Kelson as sane or Old Nick, with him covered in iodine and red, and the ossuary, the skulls. And the Bone Temple is 2 movies in one. You got Dr. Kelson's story with Samson, and you also got Jimmy and Spike involved. And I felt like both stories were coherently told. That made this film equally engaging and never overstuffed for me. Plus, it all leads to a great payoff in the third act. And also, the cinematography looks beautiful. Just so many amazing shots. They're beautifully framed. And that third act, oh, it's insane. Just wow. It is just awesome, insane, unforgettable, and how crazy it is. I loved it. Both with the use of Iron Maiden, Ray Fiennes' performance, how visually stunning that entire scene is. It's definitely the biggest highlight of the film right there. And I also want to give props to the musical score in this movie composed by Hildur Guðnadóttir. And if you don't remember who that composer is, she's the Oscar-winning composer of Joker, so no wonder the musical score in this movie sounds great. I actually didn't know she was the composer until I saw her name in the credits. I was like, oh, that's why. And to the ending, without getting into spoilers, just in case if there's any of you who haven't seen this movie yet, and it does end on another cliffhanger, and let's just say this, it definitely made me wanting more. Just get that third movie going, please. I want to see how this trilogy ends. Sadly, I do have some flaws with this movie. I will get to those right now. First, I also felt like this sequel did suffer from pacing issues. Like in the middle scene, there was just one section that's interesting but does drag. And this sequel also did leave me wanting more even before the ending. Just from a few characters, so it was just like one character that disappears halfway through the film. I was like, what happened to this character? And I was also hoping for a bit more Rager action. I feel like we didn't get enough. I do admire it as a character-driven story. I just wanted a bit more Rager action here. And I do wish Spike was given a little bit more to do compared to the big role he had in the previous film. And also does get a little bit predictable where I knew some things would happen. To sum up, 28 years later, The Bone Temple is a strong follow-up with great direction from Nia DaCosta, fantastic performances, especially from Ray Fiennes and Jack O'Connell, but also an engaging and character-driven continuation. If you're a fan of the 28 Days Later franchise, I highly recommend this movie to you. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this movie if you were mixed on 28 Years Later. How did this film compare? Did you think it was better, feel the same way, or worse? Curious to hear what you think about that. And also, if you do want to see this movie but never seen a single 28 Days Later film, I do say watch the previous movies to know about the rage virus, and especially watch the last movie since it does pick up on where that film ended. And after this movie, it definitely made me want more. I want that third movie. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the director. Is Danny Boyle going to come back? Or if Nia DaCosta does direct the next film, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Because I do notice a little bit of pattern with the directors of each film. Danny Boyle, someone else. Danny Boyle, someone else. So could Danny Boyle come back or someone else? We'll see. But either way, I still hope it happens. I don't want this trilogy to be incomplete. And now to grade it, I'm going to give 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple 4 stars out of 5. A B+. I am worried about the future of the third film after its box office. It is underperforming right now, unfortunately. I can think of a few factors on why it's been underperforming at the box office. Number one, the divisive ending. Maybe it didn't attract enough people to see this follow-up. Or the January release date, not really the best time to release a movie. And like I said, that is usually the dumping ground for movies at that time. And also another factor in January, the snowstorm across America. People getting snowed in that probably prevented people from going to the movies. And no one really want to go to the movies in single-digit weather, so that could definitely be a factor. So what could still happen? I do know it's greenlit. Could they still move forward with it regardless, or just put it on hold? I hope it's not put on hold. Or what could happen since this film is getting great reviews, so a possibility when it premieres on streaming, could it be a success there and more chances of that third film happening? Either way, I really hope we get that third one. I'm so excited to see how this trilogy ends. And here's my ranking of the 28 Days Later franchise. Number 4, 28 Weeks Later. Number 3, that's where I put 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. Number 2, 28 Years Later. And number 1 is 28 Days Later. So that's my ranking of the 28 Days Later franchise. And what is your ranking in the comments below? So I would like to hear from you guys. What do you guys think of 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple? If you've seen it, do you agree, disagree with my review? Or if you haven't seen it or interested in seeing the film or not, let me know down below. Did you enjoy hearing my thoughts on this movie? Want to see more reviews like this in the future? If yes, please hit that like and subscribe button if you're new here, and don't forget that notification bell for my next upload in the future. It really means a lot. My social media links will be in the description down below. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok, and if you'd like to see my written reviews, I do have a letterbox, so if you'd like to follow me on there as well. And until the next video, I'm Jack Benner, and look forward to another movie review.